We are reviewing Shelby Oaks, directed and written by the one and only Chris Stuckman, putting himself out for criticism. Eh? He's not used to being on this side of the table, I'm sure.
How the shoe now fits on the other table.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, I'll go through the positives of the film. This is probably the non-spoiler section, and then we'll talk about the spoilers a bit later. Yeah, what do you think, Mitch?
I've been following Stuckman for a while with his review channel and everything, and honestly, he was probably the reason why I started thinking I should start doing it myself later in life. Um, Bottom line is, if this was my very first ever attempt at directing a feature-length film with a proper budget and a proper studio backing you and whatnot, whether it's, an indie B grade or whatever you want to call it, I'd be very happy with this as the result of the film.
Yeah, me too.
Um, is it perfect? No. Is it like top tier scary? No. But what it was with what they had to offer, I think Stuckman did a pretty decent job with it. The the slow drawl intensity that you were talking about, Josh, for me it worked really well. And I mean, I'm not the greatest judge of a horror film because I very very easily jump scare
Yeah.
very easily. And I'll admit this, even with the other previous horror films that we've done a review on, I'm there at the cinema, and I can feel it coming. So what will I do? I slowly turn my eyes away and just wait for it to happen because it's like, okay, maybe I'm scared, but it's more the jump scare that gets me every time. It's like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
All right, continue the film to the next jump scare. Um, there's a few jump scares, but I think the fact that there wasn't made the film better. Because if we're talking about cheap thrills, they could have had jump scares every 20 seconds throughout this, kind of like a Conjuring film, but they didn't. A lot of the tension does derive from holding on a scene very long, or just following a character do a very mundane activity like walking up a set of stairs or walking into a room, scouring the vicinity for a torch. And it's kind of like the Hitchcock effect of you're waiting for the jump and it never occurs. So the intensity keeps building and building and building, and then holds and then holds, and then you drop your guard, and then the jump
Yeah.
happens or whatever. Um, for the most part, I think it works well. And in some areas, it's kind of like it peaks and then it just tanks and I guess kind of backfires. If that makes any sense, like it's a few things I can't really talk about until we get in the spoiler section. But all in all, I agree. The aesthetic of it looked really nice. The sound design was really nice. The location must have been somewhere Stuckman knew about growing up because it looks really authentic. I doubt there's many made set pieces for this production because I would imagine it was a very low budget film. The fact that he was able to get Keith David in a very very small role, but still it's Keith freaking David. Anybody knows that man's a legend into his film would have done something in terms of credibility or star power. Maybe even Keith David helps fund the film. I'm not sure what the backlot is that, but could use a bit more Keith David in my opinion in the film. But whatever, what we got was awesome. Um, Overall, I enjoyed it. It's not a film I'm gonna be like looking forward to watch again. Um, but for what it was, premise wise, it's a supernatural horror. For what it was, I think it ticks most of the boxes of what you expect in your, for the lack of a better word, a gimmicky supernatural horror. So for me, it's more on the positive side than the negative. Um, if I want to spill a bit more into the negative, I think the narrative itself could have been a bit more tighter, a bit more polished, um, bit more clarity on what the real focus drive is. Um, because like most supernatural horrors, there is some form of a plot twist that occurs, and I don't think the plot twist really lands well because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking I kind of already knew that. Not saying it's predictable, but it's the way the film is set up. I feel like the audience just already presumes that's where the premise is going, and not that it's supposed to be a shock or a surprise. It's like,
Yeah.
weren't we supposed to already know that? something like that. I'm not sure. That's to every audience's individual opinion on that fact. But for me, I saw it coming. And the whole supernatural concept of it was intriguing, but it was also something that could have been delved a bit more deeper in terms of like the lore and the mythos of what the creature is.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can't really say much more until we start dwelling into more, spoiler territory. But it's an experience. Was it one of my favorite horror film experiences? No, but I have to give credit to where the credit's due. It's a first-time director, Stuntman. He's done a few short films and student production budgets and his own independent stuff, but this is his first official credited directorial debut film, and yeah, I'll give him a thumbs up. I think he should stick to it. If he falls back onto his movie reviews on YouTube, cool, but I feel like once you get that momentum going, you want to keep going. So hopefully, as we speak, he's on the next project. He's thinking of the next thing to do, and can branch out further beyond than just doing supernatural horrors. Maybe he'll do the project that he wants to do, and not the one that he was confined with because of lack of limitations and all that stuff. So yeah, I was overall happy with what we got.
What would you give the rating? Since we're doing ratings.
Ratings, if I'm going off the top of my head, kind of the Goldilocks. I wasn't hating on it and I wasn't loving it, so I'm gonna give it a 6.
A 6.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. The weakest part you said. I said the weakest part before. I should have said it the way you said it is the narrative. Yeah, the narrative was done pretty poorly, I think. It was like you kind of knew what you were getting in the start of the movie. Like the story was kind of basic and it never really like surprised or there was nothing really intelligent that was intelligently explained. You kind of knew what was happening the whole movie until the very end. There was like a little plot twist, but it was like something so small. I thought the film looked really good. It was well shot. The sounds were good. It had good sound. Good sound effects. It was shot well. The acting was good too. I liked the acting. There were a lot of scenes where they had to act really scared and like sad for like a long period of time. Or they had to act for I just thought the acting was good, especially the lead actress. She the one that plays the is it her sister? Well, okay, I don't want to spoil it, but it's basically the sister of the one that goes missing. Anyway.
The main character.
Yeah, the sister of the main character.
Yes, the actress Camille Sullivan. Her role was Mia.
Yeah, I'll say that's basically all the good. The story was simple, which I guess is I don't know, good or a bad thing. It was a simple story, and I'll say the biggest negative would be the it wasn't executed as well as it could have been. Like it was a simple story, and it wasn't really executed as good as it could have been. Basically, you can tell it's a relatively new. You can tell whoever made this film is relatively new in his filmmaking career. It seems very kind of like a new guy. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to explain. It seems like a person who hasn't made movies made a movie, and that's basically
someone who is inexperienced.
Yeah, an inexperienced filmmaker, exactly. Yeah, where the story it was done very in a basic way. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so I'll get back on track. Yeah. So.
Yes.
God damn it. The movie was kind of generic and and it wasn't very scary for me. It was a lot of anticipation. It was like anticipatory horror. where you expect something to happen, and what you expect to happen kind of does happen, but you just don't know when. So you're kind of on your guard the whole scene. You know, that's the type of horror it was. It was kind of a cheap horror. You didn't have any sort of psychological aspects to it. I thought it was a pretty basic, cut and dry horror film. It was shot well. It had good sounds. It's just a very a kind of a basic horror movie, kind of run of the mill. I thought it was a very run of the mill film, and especially like if you want to start charging $20 a seat to see this film, you got to have a bit, you know, the critical eyes on a bit. Again, if we watch this movie for free, then it's like, oh sweet. But if he's charging people to watch this movie, then you got to, you know, you're in a big boy seat now. And in terms of that, for, you know, money, like entertainment for your money, I'll give it like a 5 out of 10. It was very like mediocre, run of the mill film. I was thinking about a 6 because it was like filmed pretty well, but I think the story was simple. It was told in a very simplistic sort of way, and it wasn't it wasn't anywhere near some of the other movies that like Bring Her Back and stuff like that. It's like when you compare it to that, it's very much more of a simple film. If you're looking for something like Bring Her Back, something on that level, you're not going to get that. You're going to get something a lot more amateur level than that. All right, so that's our non-spoiler review. Thank you for watching this video. Click the next video for the spoilers. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, the spoiler review. Holy crap. So the whole movie was filmed at night. Now, half the movie didn't have to be at nighttime. It could have been during the day when it was safer and you had a cell phone where you could bring a friend or something. I don't know. Just like, bloody hell, man. It was... That scene where she goes into the jail at night, I'm like, dude, that's all atmospheric. The whole time she's walking, it's a creepy scene where she's walking into the prison slowly. She's looking at the walls. And I thought it was kind of funny when she's like, oh, there it is. And it's like the whole wall had that one symbol on it. It's like, okay, there it is. You know, it couldn't be a little bit more difficult to find the symbol, but it's like so in your face. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that's the devil worship sign or something. I don't know. It was very on the nose.
Well,
But,
I mean, from her point of view, her only literal source of light is the torch. Prior to that, she's meant to be in pitch black darkness. For us as the audience, we get away with it because we need to have a nice aesthetically pleasing frame, so we get to see a bit more of the picture. But yeah, I know what you mean. It's
she's looking around the room. Yeah, she's looking around the room. It's like nothing, and then there's like freaking half the room is a massive blood sign saying, "This is the plot device." Like, yeah, that was, and then, you know, the hand comes out and the dog, I don't know, that was that dog necessary? Was it like a symbol? Or that dog, it was a symbol of like, he knew the
like, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's fine.
But like, you know, her Mia character, she reads early on in that necromancer kind of book about this spirit entity, which is the incubus, and how it has basically hounds from hell that scout out to find whatever it's seeking for. So it kind of sets up this premise that Mia is the next target, so to speak. But that wasn't the case. This is going more towards the plot twist. The hounds, and even the incubus creature itself, was somewhat luring Mia to where it wanted her to go, because, plot twist, she was the target the whole time to be this conduit, not the sister. So
she was safe
to me. Hey?
She was safe the whole movie. She'd never have to worry about dying or getting eaten or anything.
Well, I mean, she was captured and she was the bait to get the sister to do what they wanted her to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, these hounds, which would have normally, like, I guess, attacked the person was trying to lure Mia to that cabin in the woods to the elderly woman, which was, I believe, the whole time the incubus in in incognito mode of some sort. So yeah, the dogs reoccurring was intentional of them. They found Mia, now they need Mia to go where they want her to go, which is to find the sister. Reasons of which are not really clear, because at the end of the day, well, I suppose they needed to get her there for the baby. Right, and the reason why they had the sister locked up was because the second the sister has a chance to do anything about this, she was going to gun and kill the baby. Um, it's just that kind of narrative stuff that I think could have been a bit more clearer, or
Honestly, better.
like just better told story wise. Doesn't need to be example to us in exposition, but just I guess a much more clearer outcome.
The story was
And
too. The story was they couldn't arc up to the story. The story was about Lucifer and demons and the demon dog. It's like a really crazy story if you think about it, but the way they executed it was kind of like plain. Like, oh, there's a dog in the forest, and there's the baby, and then she's kidnapped, and the mother wants to get her in the same room. So I feel like for a demon story, it was I don't know, narratively done pretty poorly.
I very vanilla.
Vanilla, yeah.
I could tolerate everything about it being vanilla with the hindsight of knowing this is a first time director. But the one thing that took me kind of out of the film was the conflict with the elderly woman, and then she's doing like force pushing and force manipulation, and then I guess slits her wrist or something and dies because there's no need for her as a conduit anymore. I felt that was very lackluster, and you saw my reaction in the cinema when all of a sudden they cut into the sister saved in hospital on the recovery bed. I was like,
yeah, like whoa! They just
what
cut.
Just happened?
They just cut 10. It's like something. There was supposed to be a climax there, but it like ended before the climax. And like 10 minutes,
really growing intensity, and then misfire. It was like, no, we need one little bit more confrontation. Or I thought it would have made more sense if the sister that was now let loose kills the elderly woman. That would have made more sense, and it would have felt more earned from us as an audience, thinking, yes, the sister's free from her captivity after how long was it? 12 years?
Yeah.
I think it was meant to be 12 years, which I don't believe that she would have been in captivity for that freaking long and still be in that state. But nonetheless,
why did it have to be 12 years? Why couldn't it have been after 2 years? If they intelligently wrote, well, she had to wait this many years, they were like, oh, cool. But they didn't even explain that. It was just like, oh, just 12 years later, she's an adult.
We get flashbacks of them in their youth, and this entity, Incubus, was haunting them in their house when they were kids. But for this whole diabolical plan, required this Incubus to possess a prison cellmate for a couple of years, only for the prison cellmate to eventually get loose, kidnap the sister and kill the friends, and then find its way to Mia's house for the plot to follow through. It's just a bit convoluted narrative wise, and it could have been a simpler answer to make a much more complex narrative instead of the other way around.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, because to me, honestly, I feel like Stuckman, he took some inspirations from Silent Hill, especially that prison sequence and the whole build up to get into Shelby Oaks and the town itself.
Shelby Oaks. Exactly. Yeah.
Very Silent Hill vibes. And I'm thinking the whole time, he could probably pull off a Silent Hill film. If he has a much more clear on the stakes kind of narrative. Because, I didn't know if for a while there, well, not so much where it was going, but where the focus was meant to be, so to speak.
Yeah, it was called Shelby Oaks, but it wasn't even about Shelby Oaks. It was about this
No.
demon trying to possess a baby to become.
Yeah.
So it wasn't about like. It could have been almost false advertising. Some people like, oh, we're gonna kind of get a Shelby, like this whole village town's gonna be haunted, and well, I wonder what they can do with that. Well, they don't do anything with that. It's like a prison and a home. You know.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like the title of the film should have been the graffiti tag that they kept throwing everywhere. What happened to such and such? I've forgotten a character name. The sister that ends up missing. What was Sarah? No, Sarah Dern.
Sarah Connor. No, I'm kidding.
Sarah Connor. Yeah, like
It could have been like, yeah,
remember,
what happened to her, or the disappearance of Shelby Oaks. She should have just been called Shelby Oaks as a name. The disappearance of Shelby. I thought it was a person's name.
Yeah, there you go. No, I get it because everyone thinks it's a ghost town and it's haunted, but no, it's a spiritual entity that's cursed the town. Okay, cool, but it's something that's not really delved clearer in.
No.
And the final scenario happens when the sister gets to the cabin and confronts obviously a creepy woman who has sinister intentions, but she's still nonchalant for a little while about it. She goes in and then she puts two and two together and is like, "Where's my sister?" And the giveaway right there and then was what the old woman says. It won't change the circumstance. So for me, that was like clue number 35 that this entity is not about getting the sister, it's about getting her. She is the target.
Yeah.
And they needed this whole plan to come into effect to get the sister in the same room as this ritual baby. Like, that to me, again, wasn't clear. Like, did she really need to be in that room? Like,
it could have been an intelligent way to have that happen, but the way it happened is just happened. Like, he just followed it. She followed a dog into the house. Like, man, give me more than that. Like, that's just a bit boring.
I mean, the motivation was obviously, okay, I need to find my sister. Cool. But, like, I feel like the whole thing could have come to her house. You know what I mean? Because the husband, that was the prison cellmate, or whatever you want to call it, finds her house and blows his brains out. You know what I mean? Like, okay, if he could find where she lives, why can't this entity and this baby and all that go to her? Like, the whole plot of this film needed to happen for Mia to get to Shelby Oaks. You know what I mean? And just like, I don't know. It's like, okay, cool. If that's the narrative, fair enough. But it needs to be a bit more clever in how it's shown to us. You know, these plot points need to be of special significance, not just a run of the hill blind luck that she just ran to this for this to happen, for that to happen, for that to happen, for that to happen.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say like Chris Duckman. He's still he's shown to not be very creative, I think, in this film, but maybe because it's his first film and he was pretty afraid to really expand, and he went like, okay, well, let's just make it very bare bones. Simple, like by the, you know, he didn't want to he didn't want to risk anything, you know, he didn't want to go delve too deep.
Coming from someone who's done a few short films myself, it's the measure of being creative and expanding on your project versus your limitations on your budget and what you're capable of actually doing.
Yeah.
He definitely would have had a self-funded budget. Whether it's from his fan base with his YouTube channel, or maybe he found like a studio that came to him and gave him some sort of money. But regardless, like, to me, this film exemplifies this is the absolute maximum he could have got out of what he had in terms of a budget and a production.
I get you.
I'm only giving that his due credit because I can't base this on any of his projects, because the other stuff that he's done is like, you know, his ham cam stuff from when he was a kid. So I can't really judge him so far until I see a second film of his, whether it's his creativity that's lacking or it is his limitations on that stuff. So that's why I have to like just reel a bit back and say, like, you know, this is his first directorial debut film. I think he did a fine job with it. Like, I know for a fact that if 20 years later down the track if he was to do a Mark-up man and say, "Hey, I got the budget that I want now for this movie, and I've got the star power that I want now for this movie," it would be a completely different story. But
Yeah.
given this is the story that we got with what he was given, which is very, very limited uh, materials, for lack of a better word, I think it's still a fairly decent film. It's not scary, scary. It's got creepy moments in it. Um, and its narrative could have been a bit more polished. That's really the only two faults I can give the film properly. Because yeah, the cast is great. The cast in general, other than Keith David, are really a bunch of nobodies. I'm not saying that as an insult, but you know, newbies. Let's say newbies.
Yeah.
They've probably done a few projects on the side, but you know, they're not their faces are not immediately recognizable. They all did a great job. I mean, you got to give most of the credit to Mia because she's the main character of this film, and most of what happens is from her point of view. Um, she did fine with what she had to work with. Some of the plot narrative and MacGuffins throughout it is like, really? A good example would be when she has that horrifying first experience at the prison with this dog that comes out of nowhere and this giant hand that goes to grab her. Her immediate reaction to that is to drive to the next location that she last saw her sister. Instead of going, "What the hell was that? That was terrifying. This is real. I need to get back home and rethink my strategy. Perhaps wait till daytime to do this, not in the middle of the pitch black darkness." Just little logical things like that that you can only get away with because it's a supernatural horror film. But no, like, come on, really? You're gonna tell me? At least I have a scene where she's driving back home and she gets to the "You are now leaving Shelby Oak" sign, and then she stops and she thinks about it. It's like, no, I need to do this for my sister. I need to do this for my sister, and then does a U and goes back. At least have that moment where she was ready to quit because of what she experienced. But her love and her grief and her need to find her sister is what brings it back to the fold. Not just that was scary. Let's go to the next horror scene.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you went straight from one to the other. It's like, man, it's like she was freaking out. She should have taken a couple of days off to chill.
Yeah, I would have done the original plan. I would have told the cops everything that I just experienced, given them the cassette tape, which she like deliberately avoided giving to the police because she feels like they'll just make a closed case. But there's clearly give it to Keith David. Bring Keith David back into the film because he's just awesome. You can always your film's always a billion times better when you have Keith David in it.
Yeah, but it's one of those things
that
that they probably had him for like half a day. Like, okay, you got 4 hours with him.
Yeah,
and he's like, all right, what's my lines? You know, he just rocked up on the day.
Just again, I'd love to know the story behind that. Like, is Stuckman affiliated with Keith David? Do they have a history? Did you just happen to get him for this movie?
He went very bare bones with it. He could have taken a bit more creative risks, I feel like, but he ended up being pretty plain. But I would say the scariest part of the movie was the very beginning, where she was like in her room, and she was like, "There's people." You almost heard a chant of like it's like 50 kids running into a building. It's like it's like. I'm like, what the hell's going on? There's like 50 kids in the backyard or something.
Yeah, it's Weapons Part 2. No, those screaming and all that. Those were the hounds. So
yeah, but for me,
noises.
Did you know it was Jackal?
Yeah.
Oh, you knew it was Jackals.
It sounded demonic and animalistic in nature. So I was just like, all right, that's something spiritual. That's like an evil, monstrous looking thing. But then, as the plot forwards, she reads about the incubus and now it has hounds and all that stuff. So I was like, okay, that must be what it was. The hounds that were like pursuing the people locked in the house and all that. Honestly, like you just reminded me too of the intro. It gets to a certain point where I thought, hold on, is this movie going to be all documentary?
Oh yes,
like,
yeah.
Project, because I went for like I think 20 minutes. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but that was just a bloody intro. It gets to a certain point where all of a sudden roll credits, and that was the beginning of the freaking film, and then we get into an actual mainstream conventional style of filmmaking. I was like, whoa, that is a long intro just to show documentary footage. Like
I was
they could
relieved.
have. Me too. I was surrendering to it. Like, all right, this whole film's going to be a feature documentary, and I think he did a great job in making it look like this old found footage, late 90s, early 2000s kind of look about it. Even like references to ham cams and the old template of YouTube and whatnot. I was like, okay, this is what the film's going to be. It's going to be one of these Blair
Lost
Witch style
found film
paranormal activity. Yeah, found film footage.
found footage horror or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
like Blair Witch. Like
yeah.
yeah, I was hoping it wasn't.
Well, it eventually wasn't, but
Yeah.
it took a long time to get to that. And I feel like a lot of that found footage material in the first 10, 15 minutes could have been spread out throughout the rest of the film. You know, like when she's doing her investigation, which was a funny sequence
Yeah.
for me, because I couldn't tell at one point where this film time wise was represented. If it was meant to be like early 2000s, it's the answer to when we see a cell phone. It's modern day, but at one point Mia goes on this whole investigation trip to get answers, and she goes to a library to use the internet on a laptop to get information, where I'm pretty sure she could have done all that from her home,
From her house.
right? But
Yeah.
it's I feel like Stuckman just threw that in there as like the old kind of style, like supernatural films from the 80s and 90s, where the
Yeah.
guy needs to find answers. You go to the library, you
Yep.
look at old newspaper
Like
footage.
Indiana Jones or something.
Yeah, but it just seemed so funny. I was like, you've done all this. You probably could have just like swiped your phone and found the exact same information in 2 minutes, let alone
Yeah.
go into town and do all this waste of time.
That's like I just see that's Chris Stuckman being like, yeah, but it would look cooler in a library and with those cool the lamps, and then
Yeah.
like I get it, but yeah,
I get it too. I wish we could still make films like that without like, cell phones being such a convenience.
yeah,
Because
it's
nine
like
times out of ten, if there is a cell phone, they find some weird way to get separated from it. Oh, the battery's
yeah,
dead. Oh, it's broken. Oh, I left it in the other room.
yeah, because they'll take it
But
away from the movie. It's like, all right, let's go investigate this. All right,
exactly.
what's on Google? The whole movie's on Google. They've already done that called searching, where the whole
Yeah.
movie is based on the person's webcam. It's an okay
Ugh.
movie, but I mean that's how everything would be done if it was
Let's
done.
not forget about Ice Cube's famous War of the Worlds. That was all done from a computer screen camera. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
I didn't
magic.
watch that. No
Yeah.
way. Did you watch it
Yeah.
at the movies?
No, I
Oh, dude.
friend of mine at work downloaded it and he's like, "You have to watch this film. It's got Ice Cube in it." Oh, okay, cool. I
War
mean, if
and
you want to
War.
watch it and we can talk trash about it,
Nah, no, we won't.
let's talk about
Um,
Stockman's film.
yeah, no,
But,
you made me think of something. So, yeah, I feel like if the movie was written where it's current events going on, where they made the movie like this is something that happened. You know, news reports. This girl went missing, and 12 years later, she is. Well, why couldn't they have had the film where it starts the office kids, they're like trying to sleep, and then one kid wakes up and is like, "What's that at the window?" You know what I mean? Like they could have explained it like it was current events going on. So then when the horror parts hit, they would really hit. Where I feel like when they're going through all the horror parts, like the sister sees the thing outside the window, they're explaining it almost like it's something that already happened, like past found footage stuff. And I found that wasn't in a scary way to display it. It makes me think, oh, well, she's safe, so obviously nothing bad happened to her. Until later, where they could have had the actual shot or their kids in the, then all of a sudden, fuck, my sister's missing. Where is she? And then like 12 years later or something. Where instead of having it like a found, they already explain what happened to them as kids and that, they could have actually shot it and as it was happening.
yeah,
I feel like that would have been scarier than. But I mean, it's just a creative choice, I guess. They wanted everything to be like found footage style. This already happened. This is the news report of what happened. Like it's a true story or something.
it's probably Stuntman giving homage to his own roots, because he technically started on YouTube himself, so he wanted his story basically to begin on YouTube. YouTube false conspiracy documentaries, which were all the rave at one certain point. It's probably how Stuckman started all this stuff. I'm not sure what
And
his
the
background
stupid
is.
YouTube channel, the Paranormal Paranoids. Shut up. How many times, like, and the Paranormal Paranoids, and the Paranormal Paranoids, like, stop saying the word. It's such
I
a,
think it was intentional because,
like,
at the beginning of, like, mainstream internet and all that, there were all those corny cliche
name.
names, which at the time sounds cool, but then like 10 years later down the track, you realize, oh man, that's cringe. I guarantee if you rewind the clock on YouTube channels back in like the mid 2000s, a lot of the channel names would be like, "What were you thinking, mate?"
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I just annoyed the crap out of me.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know.
then it wasn't were they trying to be funny with it, but it just wasn't working. It was just annoying.
No, I think it was just intentionally cheesy. It was meant to be like a cheesy name because it was a simpler time. You
Mm.
know what I mean? I believed it. I believed the Paranoid. What was it? Paranormal Paranoids was once a channel back in the day. I wouldn't be surprised if it's self-serving of Stuckman. It's probably something he once created and then got rid of. Who knows? Could be the name of his band. I don't know.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Yeah. Anyway,
Who
this
knows?
is a long ass review, but yes,
Yeah.
overall it was very, for me, one dimensional, run of the mill. It was a good first attempt. It's not a movie that's like, oh, I don't want to watch his movies ever again. If anything, I want to see. I don't know if this is a personal bias because I like the guy, but I want to see where he goes with it, and hopefully his next film he'll take a bit more risks, be a bit more creative with how he tells the story, and be more cohesive with how he tells it, and make it a bit more fun instead of very. I feel like it's a bit too formally done. I don't know. Like he didn't take any creative choices on it.
I totally agree. I can't hate it. It was a very vanilla horror film,
Yeah,
but I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was overall just a meh
yeah,
experience.
that's not for me. It's 5 out of 10. Just 5 out of 10. Just like blop, forgetful. But I don't. I still think he's got talent. He can definitely shoot a movie. He can make it look very atmospheric. A lot of the shots were like, especially in the house, they had a very good lighting when they were in the grandma's house, and then she could barely see her face, and she's in the. He knows camera angles and he knows vibe, and he just now needs to just put the story that is on par with how good his shoots are. Then when he does
something
that,
a
that'd
bit
be
more
good. Yeah.
more daring and something a bit more original.
Yeah. With
sure.
like the skills that he has, and then I think he can make a really good film. Then like him and the Philippou brothers, and that they could be like the next, I guess, scary movie boys or something. Oh, I wonder if they'll end up collabing and making a movie together, or maybe not. Maybe the Philippou boys already, but probably. I mean, Bring Her Back got such good reception. I'm really curious to see.
Oh, I'm sorry
See what
again.
they
That's
do.
my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuckman's got catch up to it, but he's obviously got the skills and the know-how and the love and passion and the education to make films. And now he's got his first serving. Hopefully, from this film, he'll get a bit more attention his way, a bit more funding, a bit more studio interest, and the next film will be his real bread and butter. It will be the story that he properly wants to tell, not the
Right.
one that he was limited telling. So I hope all the best for him, and hope he just climbs that ladder.
That's it.
Keeps going for it.
And with Philippou's brothers, their first film, I mean, Talk to Me. That versus Shelby Oaks, that's roughly on the same par in terms of their career levels, correct?
Yeah, you mentioned you were comparing this to Bring It Back in the previous review, the non-spoiler review, and back in my thinking, it's not really that fair because that was their bread and butter.
The
that
second
was
film or
their
third film.
film polish.
Yeah.
Talk to Me is much more better comparison because it was fun and had some original take, but at the same time, it was a concept that we've seen before. But in the end, it's how they executed it and how they directed it made it somewhat of a difference. So I think it's more fair point to compare that Talk to Me with Shelby Oaks.
Yeah. I will say Talk to Me, they knew who their audience was. Their audience was probably like late teens, early 20s, kind of popcorn. Like, well, there's a party going on and we're getting high, dude. Like, yeah, it's kind of cultural, where Shelby Oaks is a bit more old school style where I don't feel like it knows who its audience is really. It's maybe old 80s fans or something, 90s.
A fair point, because it didn't exactly feel like it had a personal demographic. Because like you said, most of the material and all that is from something that happened 20 years earlier, well, 12 years earlier, and all that. So I feel like it was not, I don't want to say self-serving, but definitely a film he made for his own age bracket, which
Yeah,
is kind of our age
our
bracket,
age bracket.
you know,
The
from
ear-
25 to 35.
like you knew the early days of YouTube and stuff like that.
Mm,
2008, 2009. Yeah, that was
yeah,
right in our age bracket. Which I mean, it's just fun. I mean, yeah, the movie doesn't have to have an age bracket. Or even it
okay,
doesn't even have to be for anyone specifically. It just has to be a good film. But
exactly.
anyway, that's what. All right. Well, thank you for watching our review, ladies and gentlemen. And let us know what you thought in the comments. And I don't know. Yeah. See ya.
You can see those and get Stuckmanized.
Yeah, get Stuckmanized. I might add the edit.